Well, this is, I was just about to say it's not the video I thought we'd be making, but about 5 steps onto the racetrack to warm up Admiral Deo tonight, I was fairly certain this was exactly what would happen. Now, I checked Admiral Deo's shoes before, when we come off the track from the warm-up, because I was surprised. You know, we trained the other day, the track was hard as a rock. He trained great, Dancing by myself trained great. And this is the track that I thought we'd be racing on, a firm track with not a lot of cushion on it. And what we actually raced on was here's the problem. When you have it rain, and this very rarely happens, but when you have a flash freeze, like it rained Saturday night, and then it froze right away. The last couple of races were pretty treacherous, and I think the guys in the maintenance crew got on the tractors hard, and they were cutting the track open, but they never really stopped. The track froze underneath, and they had a little cushion on top, but it was still icy underneath. You had all that rain, not a ton of rain, but enough rain fell Saturday, and then froze to ice. Just the worst kind of conditions for this industry. The worst for a track. And there's only so much they could do. So when I got there, I really thought that there'd be a rock hard surface, you know, rock dust and water, frozen, like it was a foreign planet, and on top probably some material that they put down. Best you could do. Instead, I get there and the track is 1 3/4 inches deep of dust, and you know, they'd put some material on it, but there was some ice and snow mixed in. That's why the races were so slow tonight. It was just a terrible surface. You know, I railed on about it all night. I was just too deep. It was too deep, but you know, somebody always said, we were always told, you want to complain about a problem, have a solution. I don't have one, and looking back on it now, I'm not so sure that I'm even right. Maybe the only way we could have raced tonight was to make it a little bit deep and just continue to dig it up. My take on it was simple. You know, it'd be like putting bran on a kitchen table and then, you know, trying to claw your way into it with your hands. So there's pieces of that conditioner all over the track tonight. I ran over 2 pieces of it on the track. You know, those teeth that dig in, but you can't dig in to frozen, and we all know how frozen it is right now. Frozen stone dust. You just can't dig into it. Having said that, I don't really know of an alternative. All in all, it was just a terrible surface for at least 1 or 2 horses to race on. Now, it didn't matter what surface Admiral Deo raced on tonight. I knew what had happened. I knew I had a pretty good idea what was going on leaving the gate. As we got into the first turn, he was immediately empty. We've had... excuse me. Jeepers. I've had this happen 2 times. One, I don't know that I was sitting behind either of them, actually. I don't think I was. Patrick the Piranha was the first one. He flipped his heart. Now, atrial fibrillation. Heartbeat was screwed up. Now, there can be a number of things that can cause this. My biggest concern at this point is that the Lasix. This is why somebody asked me the other night, sent me a message and said, hey, how come you took Spitfire off Lasix? Well, because when we went back to Canada, the last line in Canada shows him being on Lasix. So he's in the computer is on Lasix. So it wasn't even me. It was Kirby and Dominic who caught it. They said, hey, do you want to race that horse on Lasix? I said, absolutely not. Because he did when he was a 3-year-old AFib. Now, we've never had to worry of it since. And I think it was more the heat of the season. He was working hard. He was a really, really, really sweaty, big, heavy 3-year-old. And on Lasix, maybe he sweated a little too much, and the Lasix just pushed him over the edge, and it screwed up his heartbeat, his rhythm. Now, Spitfires was a little more difficult. Patrick the Piranha, now you won't know till tomorrow. I'll have Dr. Latessa. I gave him electrolytes orally after the race, as we generally do. I gave him just a little bran mash with a lot of water in it. And we'll see, we'll have Dr. Latessa listen to his heart tomorrow. I think I was going to say the vast, but I don't know the numbers. The majority of horses revert back naturally within 24 hours themselves. I think that's the norm, I believe. Now, don't quote me on that, though. But I believe it was told to me when Patrick flipped his and when Spitfire flipped his that they generally revert back. Spitfire did not. He had to get quinidine, and Dr. Latessa was the one that did that, too. And that is a very interesting technique, by the way. Another story for another time. But Spitfire needed that 30 days off. It really knocks them. In fact, they do nothing but mostly sleep. Just lay down for the first week and a half or so, and then they slowly start to come back to life. I believe the time frame on Spitfire when he was reverted back medically was 4 to 6 weeks before he could really start training. Well, in 5 weeks, I think he raced in the final of the Pennsylvania Sire Stake. Now, this wasn't just, let's just put him in. Dr. Latessa was on top of him the whole way, watching him closely, drawing his blood, listening to his heart, coaching us the entire time. After about 3 weeks, we realized that, 1, he was eligible for the final, and 2, there was a timeline there to make it, but it was razor thin. And we ended up making the final, and we finished 5th in the final. And actually raced very good. Neither one of those horses ever had any episodes of atrial fibrillation after that. Not Patrick the Piranha, not Spitfire Overseas. Neither one of them. So I'm not worried about it happening again. I am worried about why it happened. I am worried about how we're going to keep it from happening again. If we come in tomorrow and Dr. Latessa listens to his heart and he's fine. All right, maybe we got to try and race him without Lasix, because I know when Harry originally put him on Lasix, and I don't know if you have to stay on for a certain length of time in most jurisdictions. But I know when Harry put him on Lasix, there was just a trickle of blood showing that he thought that there was maybe a little more coming behind it. That was the thought, anyway. And if we can't take him off Lasix, fine. I think we have to be a little more aggressive with electrolytes and potassium the week of the race. Right now, I believe Dr. Latessa generally runs jugs into them 3 days out, 2 days, whenever you're allowed. I'm not sure. Not really sure. So the most important thing about the entire Admiral Deo episode tonight was hopefully that he's reverted back on his own tomorrow. And at that point, we can start planning how we're going to mitigate this. I suspect he has to qualify, so that'll happen next Thursday. And we'll go from there, because he did train actually good the other day. And this is why I was a little upset tonight. I was more mad at the track, but what are you going to do? You're going to be mad at the weather? You're going to be mad at dirt and ice? I was just mad. And, for this to happen to Admiral Deo frustrates me, but he's sound. And he was in pretty decent spirits when I left the barn. He was sharp. He was digging into that mash that I'd given him and felt good. Now, the other horse trained awesome the other day, and I told you guys, again, everything I said the other day was based on the premise. It was all predicated on the thought that tonight would be the same track we trained on the other day. Firm. Hard track. Now, it didn't matter what track Admiral Deo was on tonight, that was going to happen. It had nothing to do with the track. The other horse, on the other hand, he is trotting very good. Forget what you saw tonight. There's nothing you do. I'll tell you, we were late for post parade because one of the caretakers noticed that there was a cork broke off his shoe. Bad night to have that happen. So we had the blacksmith come in. Luckily, Keith Cash was there, and he said, I have some borium-headed nails. Now, these are exactly how they sound. Shoeing nails with borium put on the top, welded on the top of the nails. Old horseman's trick. We were appreciative. The blacksmith was there and put the nail in the shoe, but that wasn't the biggest problem. One, he has open-toed shoes. This is why he didn't get over Mohawk. I'm absolutely certain of it now. I saw the horse train with my own two eyes the other day, and he looked great. I saw how he performed at Mohawk his last 3 starts on a deep track. Tonight, the track was deeper than Mohawk ever could have been. He's got open-toed shoes up front, so aluminums with the shoes turned around. The whole toe literally is open. There's nothing there. It's just it'd be like just the shoe backwards. So you just have the ends of the shoe is at the toe. There's nothing there to grab. Fine on a hard track. Not so fine on a deep track. Ag bar is behind. Very bad on a deep track. Just fine on a firm track. He had 2 ag bars. As they said go, one of them went flying off. And Jason checked him before we went out. So I don't know whether he hit the bike, loosened it, lost it. Maybe his walls, he might be due to be shod, and the ends of those walls are a little shelly, a little weak, brittle. It's possible, I guess. I could give you 5 or 6 reasons. It doesn't matter. It happened. Now, I don't think if the shoe comes off, it matters anyway, because all the problems came from that front end. We'll tell you what he did do, though. He trotted great. Never put a step in. He leaned into himself like he was trying to come forward. He just couldn't get a hold of the track. Now, everything's supposed to melt next week. If we're lucky, it'll be a decent but somewhat firm surface. Not frozen, I don't think. What day's today? Hold on. It's Tuesday. It still might be some ice in the track. So it's going to have 5 days of a deep freeze. And it's going to rain, I think, next Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to have to take a look at the forecast and shoe the horses accordingly for Tuesday. Dancing by myself, I was worried about his gait. I was worried about a million things. I already know he can go enough to compete. So what happened tonight, disregard. That is 1,000% the track he was trying to race on. She can't go through that stuff with those shoes on. And I had no inkling that track would look like that tonight. As I drove towards Northfield Park, I was supremely confident that we had 2 horses in good spots to do good tonight on that firm track. It just wasn't firm. Anyway, there's no question marks. There's no, hey, you have to do that. There is a question mark. Is Admiral Deo reverted back tomorrow morning? I suspect he's a young, healthy horse. I suspect he is. But I'll let you know. I'll let everybody know if he is not, or if he is, for that matter. I'll try to remember to touch on it tomorrow. Not a lot going on in the mornings right now. It's just so bitterly cold. We opted to not train the babies this week. At least I went with a couple of them that maybe needed a little work today. But we opted not to train the vast majority of them this week. We're not going to qualify the horse on Thursday into the long range. I needed to change because it's supposed to rain next Thursday, which is even going to make it messier. I just don't think, well, I can tell you what, I have no interest in qualifying any of our horses on that track right now. None. We have 2 in tomorrow. Leggy, fine. Mounts for all, fine. I'm actually glad that Looks Like Money didn't get in this week. I'm glad the Time Is On My Side didn't get in this week. This tracks, there's no way they're even be remotely good. So, shitty night. But one, just a freak thing that we can fix. And the other one, we definitely can fix. We just have to shoe him. That's the thing. We got him where he's comfortable. I don't want to change his shoes. But I can't race him on a track even remotely that deep with open-toed shoes on. So we may have to go to a normal aluminum shoe up front. Maybe square the toe a little bit on up front. On the very front end of him. We'll see. We'll see what Mother Nature has in store for us for the next few days. So, disappointing night at the office, especially when I thought both these horses had really good chances. The weather caused one. It did not cause the other. But we'll push forward. So tomorrow's a new day. As I said, we have Leggy in tomorrow. Who else do we got in tomorrow? I think we only got the 2, don't we? Just have... oh no, Yo Mister's in tomorrow. He's in the open. Tough spot for him. I thought he was in a tough spot last week and he won, so who knows. So Yo Mister, Leggy, Mounts for All Thursday. We have Irresistible Sun over at the Meadows. High Hopes and Tech Song Soprano in on Thursday. Now Friday is going to be cool. Country dancing makes her first start of 2025. Foxy Seaside continues to ascend the classes. She's in on Friday night. Rosetta got in with High Hopes. James called me and said, what do you think? I'll make it easy. I said, are you confident that Oh Hill No is not tricky? Do you think there's somebody else that can get Oh Hill No around? He goes, yeah, Jody will get around, no problem. I said, okay, then you go with Rosetta, because she does need, you're going to have to go last trip with her. You're going to have to set her hobbles up for her in your bike if you want, in Ontario. But, and quite frankly, she's the faster horse right now also. So that will work out fine. We have a number of horses in Ontario Friday, a number in Saturday, a number of schooling. I don't think we have anybody qualifying, but a number of them. Yes, Delicious Stone DK Dominic said, we'll school him. I said, no. No interest in the schooling. He's a million years old. He only has so many starts left on his legs to begin with, and we're not going to waste him in schoolers. So just put him in, and I'll talk to James. Just tell him to go mile 2-3, get him around so he's comfortable. So that's the plan for this week. A little dull. Our big guns didn't get in. Looks like money. And time is on my side right now. Our tip of the spear, so to speak, in racing. Neither of them get in, but a week off's not going to kill either of them. I'm trying to line up time schedule anyway. Looks like his first stakes are going to be in May. I want to give him at least 3 weeks off and bring him back before that. So you're looking at a 6-week window. I think the first stake is the first part of May. Let's say May 5th. That means I like to race him April 28th. If he races April 28th, he may have to qualify. If he does, that would be April 21st. 3 weeks from April the 1st. That means second week in March, he'll be off. So probably a couple more races for him, and then we'll shut him down for 3 weeks, bring him back 3 weeks later. And it looks like it's either going to be the Charles Jarabinski or an invite of some sort. We have the graduate we may pay him into, or we may race him in also. And a couple of invites, not a couple, a ton of invites all summer long. So a number of races for our horses. But for this week, those guys will be on the bench. So with that, I'll let you go. Not the night we wanted, but I hope I explained it very well as I could. I'm not disappointed with either horse. There's Admiral Deo you can't blame the horse for that. We can fix that, and it's pretty straightforward when it comes to dancing by myself. Just shoeing, track, weather. Next time. All right, take care. Go to bed. We'll talk to you soon.